What is the Zillutrix? Created by the incredible artist Darren Z, this is a fan-made Omnitrix that is very different from the rest. It was created by Azimuth, just like in any other reality, except this time Azimuth is a fallen angel. He created the parasitic device as a means of preserving the life of demons from hell, a similar premise to the Omnitrix.
The Omnitrix is Noah's Ark, and you are Noah.
It serves a similar purpose as it stored the last of the extinct demon races. However, unlike the actual Omnitrix, this watch is alive and is seen as the fifth son of the Demon Lord. Pretty interesting premise so far. But the story takes a turn, as I'm sure you're wondering, how did it even get to Earth? You see, this experiment was supposed to stay in hell, preserving the life of endangered demons. I'm not sure what other purpose it has. However, the Demon Lord's wife, Lilith, sends this device to the surface for an unknown reason, and that's how it ends up in the hands of Ben Tennyson. Now, Ben is a brawler and 3 years older than the Ben we know from the classic series. Unlike our classic Ben, he can actually throw hands in human form, as the first time we see him, he is getting into a street fight with Cash. Just like classic Ben Tennyson, he goes on summer vacation with his family, his cousin Gwen, and Grandpa Max. I personally love what the AUs have been doing with Gwen Tennyson's designs. They are really impressive. Anyways, during the first main stop in the forest is where we see Ben get his first meeting with this strange device from Hades, and he gains the Zillutrix. When the watch attaches to Ben, it does something incredibly interesting, as it doesn't just simply attach to him like it does in the classic show, but the watch enacts its main protocol, which is to absorb or consume a species for storage. It looks insanely painful, as the frame where the watch is jumping onto Ben, we can see what seems to be 100 different teeth. It starts to eat away at him, but Ben attacks it in a fit of rage as a means of trying to get it off of him. This was actually very important, as it stops the absorption process and has the watch merge with Ben instead. This hellish experiment now gives Ben access to various now extinct spawn of Hades, with only 2 being shown so far in the comic. So let's start with Obsidian. This is the hardest stone from hell that has various crystal control abilities. The design is very similar to that of Crystal Fist, and this is obviously our Diamond Head of the AU. However, its crystal control seems to be a lot more refined than our Diamond Head in the original series. An important thing to note though about Obsidian is that his consciousness is shared with Ben once he transforms, because of how the Zillutrix works. Once it's activated, Ben is gaining access to the body of a demon that lives within the watch. It sort of becomes like a symbiotic relationship, much like the symbiote from Spider-Man or the relationship between Naruto and the Ninetales. One body, but 2 different minds. Speaking of 2 minds, let's talk about the different personalities. Obsidian has a very loyal and confident personality. He reminds me a lot of a noble knight or warriors like Maximus from Gladiator. These archetypes are very confident in their ability and reputation, along with being incredibly loyal to their kings. In this case, the king is the watch, the Zillutrix, or Zillu for short. Obsidian gives Ben control over his abilities and body to fight enemies, which seems like a logical option for the progression of the story. But our next demon isn't nearly as willing. This demon is an Infernite. Of course, this is the species name and not the official name of what this demon is called, but it has powers that you think one of these guys would have after you take a first glance, which is extreme firepower and fire control. This demon has a very condescending and bloodthirsty attitude, as he displays visible hatred for humans and he looks down on them. He even tries to harm Ben in their shared consciousness, which ends up revealing a very special feature of the Zillutrix, where they cannot harm the host of the watch, which is very interesting. An important thing to note that this Hellfire Heat Blast and Demonic Diamond Head have in common is their blind reverence and respect for Zellu. That's the original name of the Zillutrix. This seems to be a very important aspect of what comes with the watch, as it is the only leverage that Ben Tennyson has in regards to using the powers of these odd demons. Because of their extreme reverence, even Obsidian respects the watch itself even more than the highest ruler in hell, which is quite interesting. This Inferno demon does reveal another interesting aspect about this AU though, through his battle for the control over his shared body. This is where Ben ends up losing himself to Zillutrix Heat Blast, and things get really dark as he almost takes the life of his frightened cousin. But a huge reveal comes in to save Gwen's life, and shows that Grandpa Max in this reality has powers. This now has Grandpa Max and the Inferno demon engage in an epic battle, and it is revealed that instead of being a plumber, Grandpa Max is a high-level exorcist with blue chains. The color matters, and I'll explain in a few. Grandpa Max, in his old age, is putting the paws on this demon, and he's handling himself pretty well in combat. But the concept of exorcists in this universe is very interesting, as they are grouped into 3 different color grades based on my observation. It starts with white, which are the beginners or the lowest level exorcists. These seem to be the majority of exorcists around. In the face of really strong demons, they are very weak. Next up are the blue chained exorcists. These seem to be the elite level that are capable of taking on high level demons. From what I have also seen, they are able to heal wounds. Not sure if that's like a specializing thing, but hey, it's still pretty cool. Next up is the yellow chained exorcist. These seem to be super specialized and super rare based on what we saw in the first few chapters. These are very uncommon in humans. This is all based on what Zelatrix Heatblast said after he saw Max with yellow chains. Like, nearly no human has this ability except the GOAT Max Tennyson so far. This is all as a result of his holy blood, which is like, whoa. Seems like he's a truly exceptional exorcist. In the most recent chapter though, it seems that Gwen also has unlocked her latent exorcist powers. Most of this does give me questions about the lineage of these 2 children, having me wonder if Verdona in this reality might actually be an angel, and through Max's interaction with her is what enabled him to unlock his holy blood fueled exorcist powers. I say this because of the events of the episode Moonstruck, where Max and Verdona meet for the first time, and in that episode is where Verdona's powers are severely weakened. So upon their first introductions, she establishes a sort of telepathic link between herself and Max, as a means of finding out if she could trust him. This link ends up being a 2-way street though, nearing the end of the episode, and is sort of a moment where Grandpa Max in the original canon of the show flexes his own set of superpowers, being able to read Verdona's mind and find out where she is. Something like that definitely happened, man, or at least that's my theory. Another huge thing about the Zelatrix is the nature of the golden chains. You see, long ago when the devil was hatching a plan to invade heaven, God heard of it and used his almighty golden chains to seal hell. This has restricted the demon's abilities to live in hordes, along with nerfing the demon lord's powers, which left him unable to manifest his cursed energies. Now some demons managed to barely crack the surface of hell, so that they could be able to leave this hellscape, but with a limit of only 4 living demons being able to leave their home every 6 weeks. Golden chains seem to be the ultimate counter to the beings from this hellish dimension. Anyways, if you guys want a full video on like my thoughts on the exorcists, you can leave a comment down below. A main premise of the Zelatrix comic is that these demons from hell are now in hot pursuit of the watch itself, and they do not play about it, as they are not afraid of killing in order to get their hands back on this precious experiment. So far, this has been one of the most interesting AUs that I have ever seen. I love the concept of the watch being a parasitic demon storage device that coincidentally ends up being used as a device for heroism. I love how dark it also gets, giving me vibes of Invincible, showing us that the stakes for these battles are really high. And the Exorcist lore might be the most interesting part of the entire thing. I can't wait to learn more. But what do you guys think about the Zelatrix? Comment down below, and also let me know what other fan Omnitrixes you'd like me to cover. 17 months ago, the Chaketrix and Carnitrix combined and gave us the most feral alien girls of all time. But what has happened to Ben Tennyson since then? Let's find out.